bombing after bombing around the world. Just the most recent pattern of attacks against modern-day Christians, making 2019 the bloodiest year yet for believers.
Religious persecution knows no boundaries. It respects no faith. It attacks everyone. So unfortunately, we're seeing a rising tide of persecution around the world.
Officials around the world agree the persecution of Christians is nearing genocide. THAMES is a U.S. Special Advisor for Religious Minorities. He says religious freedom is one of the most violated liberties in the world, especially in Iraq. In the birthplace of Christianity, the faith is facing extinction. Since the U.S.-led invasion toppled Saddam Hussein's regime, the Christian community there has dwindled from 1.5 million to less than 120,000. Despite the fact that the Islamic State terror group has been defeated in the country, the Archbishop of Erbil, Bashar Warda, believes there is still a fear stopping Christians from coming home. Fear the Islamic State will return and attack again. He says, quote, one of the oldest churches, if not the oldest church in the world, is perilously close to extinction. Those of us who remain must be ready to face martyrdom. PASCALE, WARDA, a Christian and former minister in the country, echoes his concerns. There are still members of the Islamic State in hiding.
The spirit that exists already is there. Any Muslim who will not see his neighbor like his brother, like citizens, like partnership in the same land and the same rights, he can do this in any time.
Archbishop Warda accuses the world's leaders of political correctness, saying many will not speak out for Christians in fear of being labeled Islamophobic. The Archbishop also challenged a group of British leaders, asking if they would ever carry signs that say, "We are all Christians." Another expert on the global persecution of Christians is the Executive President of Aid to the Church in Need International, Dr. Thomas Heine-Geldern. National Correspondent for the Tablet and Crux, Christopher White, spoke exclusively with him today. Christopher joins us now. Christopher, tell me, Dr. Heine-Geldern says he believes the United Nations is a necessary force for preserving religious freedom. How so?
Well, the President of Aid to the Church needs to look. The United Nations serves as a global body, and that the U.S. or the Holy See's mission at the UN helps enforce that. Let's just listen into what he had to say now.
Respect and the recognition of religious freedom as a human right can only become accomplished by the full commitment of the nations and of the international organizations. So, in my opinion, the United Nations plays a very important role for the acceptance, the global acceptance of religious freedom as a human right.
Interesting commentary there. Christopher, tell me, why does he believe Christians in particular are being targeted more so than any other religious group in the world?
It's interesting. One of the things he says is that Christians, because of their sort of baptismal calling to welcome all people, and the gospel commandment to go to all corners of the globe, are particularly targeted because of that. And he said Christians are also the ones that reject ultranationalism. And he said because of that rejection of ultranationalism, those that hold such ultranationalist views really target Christians as a sort of revenge against that.
And he also praises Pope Francis for his particular concern against persecuted Christians. What did he have to say about that?
He said Pope Francis has called us to be artisans of peace, which goes even further than some popes have said. He says, it's not just a matter of saying no more to war. Peace requires that it's a positive action toward creating the conditions for it.
Christopher, I think my last question for you is, where is Aid to the Church in Need investing most of their resources at the moment?
Yeah, one of the things he said is that we invest in both small projects and big projects. So small projects could even be providing a donkey to a priest or a bicycle to a nun to help them provide pastoral care, or big projects such as rebuilding the Nineveh Plains in Iraq, helping create schools and churches so that there can be ongoing pastoral facilities so that the presence of Christians in these regions doesn't disappear.
All right, Christopher, thank you so much.
Thanks, Michelle.